Visit to the ballpark in Arlington, and here's the Southwest Airlines lineup for Dusty Baker's San Francisco Giants. Darryl Hamilton leads off in center field, batting second at shortstop Jose Vizcaíno. Hitting third at second base is Jeff Kent. Batting cleanup the left fielder Barry Bonds. Hitting fifth at third base Mark Lewis. Batting sixth the designated hitter Glenn Allen Hill. Batting seventh in right field Stan Javier. J.T. Snow, the first baseman, bats eighth, and hitting ninth is the catcher Marcus Jensen for the Giants. And the Rangers in the field here will have Greer, Buford, and Newson in the outfield. Palmer and Clark on the corners in the infield. Ripken and Mark McLemore back in the infield. Pudge behind the plate, and Darren Oliver on the mound to throw that first interleague pitch tonight, Tom.
Well, Darren's still looking for consistency. 2 starts ago, he beat the Twins 8-0. He went 8 innings, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Looked like he might be back on a roll. Then in his last start at Kansas City, he pitched 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, and got the loss in the 10-4 game at Kansas City. So Darren still looking to put back-to-back games together. Left-hand hitters have only hit .233 against him. Right-hand hitters .279. So the league only hits .274. The stuff is there. It's just a matter of going out, throwing strikes, getting ahead of the hitters, and letting his natural talent take over.
Darren Oliver throws the first pitch, and former Ranger Darryl Hamilton, quite an honor to be the first batter in an interleague game.
Maybe 10 years down the road, you know, maybe I'll look back and say, hey, I was the first guy to ever do this. But right now, you know, it's just, I'm just looking at it as another game and not trying to get too motivated about it.
Darryl Hamilton set to step in against Darren Oliver. These guys good friends from their time together here in Texas. And the first pitch of the interleague game taken away by home plate umpire Jim McKean. And just for the record book, it's ball 1 from Darren Oliver.
That ball will be headed to Cooperstown.
Among other items involved in this game, special bases, special home plate, special pitcher's mound as well. The Darren Oliver with the strike to Darryl Hamilton there. As we mentioned, Hamilton and Oliver, good friends from their time here in Texas. Faced each other 5 times, and Darryl Hamilton has the first hit in an interleague game for you trivia buffs out there. A leadoff single for Darryl Hamilton in his return to Texas.
Darryl's only hitting .258 coming into the ball game, but boy, we grew accustomed to seeing this last year. Darryl Hamilton leading off a game, leading off an inning with a base hit. Had a terrific season for the Rangers last year, both defensively and offensively at the top of the lineup. And you mentioned, Bill, that he's a good friend with Darren Oliver. Darryl Hamilton is a good friend with everybody on the team. He was one of the really good guys on the ball club and someone that the clubhouse really misses this year.
Will Clark giving him a hard time at first base after that first interleague hit. And we're going to go through a lot of baseballs tonight because that first hit, the ball, went right into the Ranger dugout. Jim McKean retrieved that one as well. Here's Jose Vizcaíno, the second hitter in Dusty Baker's lineup. As Hamilton gets the leadoff single here on a beautiful night for baseball. It's hot and steamy. It's a Texas summer evening, and it's good to be home. That one's hit to short. Ripken to McLemore on to first. It's a double play. And just like that, the Rangers have the first 2 outs in this game.
We'll get that ball. There's the first double play. They'll get everything. First strike, first ball, first hit, first strikeout. Billy Ripken really gives McLemore a nice feed. It's a routine ball, but it's a nice, soft, quick feed, perfect location. Right back in the action, McLemore turns a double play right off the bat.
Mark McLemore activated off the disabled list. You're spending about a month there with a couple of injuries. Torn ligament in his hand, and also he had arthroscopic knee surgery a couple of weeks ago. He's back in there tonight. Third hitter for the Giants is Jeff Kent. He's a former American leaguer.
One thing that happened in McLemore's absence was that a lot of middle infielders for the Rangers got an opportunity to play, and play quite often. Cedeno played a lot. Of course, Benji Gill played a lot. Billy Ripken played a lot. And as of right now, McLemore is back in the lineup. He'll play every day at second. Dean Palmer will play every day at third. And the middle infielder that played the best among the others has been Billy Ripken. And it'll be very interesting to see if Johnny Oates sticks with Billy Ripken at shortstop or whether or not it's just a one-game thing and Benji Gill goes back to shortstop. But Billy has shown steady defense, big hits, and that's a tough decision for Johnny Oates. Johnny likes to stick with the guys he started with, but Billy may make it tough for him.
Just missing is Oliver. It's 2-2. McLemore activated today, and to make room for McLemore on the roster, the Rangers have designated outfielder Mike Devereaux for assignment, meaning they have 10 days to make a decision on McLemore. Release him outright. They could try to trade him. They're trying to do that right now. Or he could go to the minor leagues, being a veteran player. Jeff Kent, the third out of this first inning. Billy Ripken back on it. And it turns out to be a 1-2-3 first for Darren Oliver. The Rangers hit when we come back. Up in right field, Warren Newsom. Batting second, the catcher, Ivan Rodriguez. Hitting third. In left field is Rusty Greer. Batting cleanup, the DH, Juan Gonzalez. Hitting fifth at first base, Will Clark. Dean Palmer plays third and hits sixth. Batting seventh is the second baseman, Mark McLemore. Damon Buford in center field will hit eighth. Batting ninth is the shortstop, Bill Ripken. Rangers and Giants getting set here with Mark Gardner on the mound for San Francisco, and Warren Newsom already ready to step in. And there's the first pitch, a strike from Mark Gardner. Defensively for San Francisco, Bonds, Hamilton, and Javier. In the outfield, Lewis, Vizcaino, Kenton, Snow, with Jensen behind the plate. That's a high chopper in the infield. Over is Vizcaino to make the play, and there's the first out of the first for the Rangers.
Vizcaino is very smooth at shortstop. He led the National League shortstops in defense 2 years ago. So it's not surprising to see him make this play so smoothly. He's a very good player. He's played a lot of second base also. Known for his defense, though.
Ranging far behind second base for that one. There's one out, and Ivan Rodriguez gets set to hit against Gardner. Rodriguez among the American League hitters still, with that average at .343. Coming off a night last night in Minneapolis where he hit the long ball once again. And strike one. Take a look at Pudge last night. One of four hit by the Rangers as they broke out of a slump. And maybe it continues tonight. 0-2 at the plate to Rodriguez. You know, Tom, Mark Gardner has turned into pretty much the ace of the San Francisco staff. We'll also be seeing their other top starter, Sean Estes, tomorrow night, but he has emerged. He was the opening day starter for the Giants.
Well, Gardner's having a good season. I don't know that you look at him and think staff ace. He could very well be on this staff along with Estes. More of a guy you would like to have in your staff as maybe the third starter, but he's got an excellent curveball. The Giants have won 8 out of his last 11 starts. Veteran guy's been with a lot of different teams. He's actually pitched against the Rangers before. Not many people will remember it, but back in 1993, he had a start against the Rangers when he was pitching for Kansas City. Here's a look at his curveball. Most pitchers throw sliders. You don't see as many pitchers throwing curveballs, but you'll see two of the best tonight and tomorrow. Gardner from the right side, Sean Estes from the left side. These guys really have the power curveball.
The Giants have won 8 of his last 11 starts. Another one fouled off into the Ranger dugout that time. They go scattering quickly, and John Burkett throws an interleague souvenir up into the crowd.
I bet that hit Burkett the way they're all laughing. He's not going to let anyone know that he's hurt either. Will Clark's going to get right in the middle of it, though. Where'd that hit you, Berkey?
And a swing and a miss, strike 3. And there's your first interleague strikeout as we keep tabs on these things tonight.
Well, this is the power curveball. Watch how sharply this curveball breaks. Pretty good hitter at the plate, too. That's a big-time curveball. That's the same type of curveball that Bob Tewksbury throws, only Gardner throws it harder, which makes it break even sharper. It's the old north to south curveball.
Strike 1 to Rusty Greer with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. And that one's hit back up the middle way over and unable to make the play this time is Jeff Kent, and Rusty Greer as an infield single. So the Rangers with a man on, and check out Rusty.
It's a good moving fastball. Rusty hits it off the end of the bat. Kent, known more for his offense than his defense. Very serviceable player, though. He's played a lot of second base, a lot of third base. That ball is playable for some second basemen, and I think it's playable for Jeff Kent on a number of different chances, but Rusty will get a base hit on that one.
2 out and 1 on for the Rangers here in the bottom of the first, and Juan Gonzalez coming off a big night last night in Minnesota. In the 4th inning, Gonzalez went deep and very deep, and in the very next inning, the very next pitch he saw, Juan Gonzalez went deep, and it was just deep enough to get over the fence at the Metrodome. A 2-home run night. He also had a double last night, breaking out of a slump. And it's 1-1 from Gardner here.
Gardner will probably be pretty tough on the Ranger hitters the first time through the lineup, and he may be tough on them the whole night. But until you get a look at that curveball, you can watch it on film, you can read scouting reports about it, but until you go up there and try to hit it, you really don't have a feel for what you have to do to be able to hit it.
6 of the 9 Rangers in the order tonight have faced Gardner before, but they haven't faced him much. Gonzalez last night with his second 2-home run game of the season. The other one came here at the ballpark in Arlington about 18 games ago. 3-1. And one of the keys, Tom, for Gonzalez is to be a little more patient at the plate.
No doubt about it. When he went through that cold streak, which has been recently, one of the major factors were all the strikes, all the pitches that he swung at out of the strike zone, especially those breaking balls down and away.
That one's hit well into left field. It's a base hit. Juan Gonzalez with the line drive single into left, and the Rangers have runners at first and second with 2 outs. Rangers are breaking out, as evidenced by last night. Pudge got 2 hits, Juan got 3, Clark got 3. Gonzalez, the key guy in that group, as Rodriguez and Clark have been hitting of late, and Gonzalez and Palmer joined the hit parade last night. Gonzalez aboard here for Will Clark.
The big factor last night was the fact that all the guys in the middle of the lineup were hot in the same game. Been a number of games this year where a couple of them have been swinging the bats well. But to really put the big numbers up like they did last night, you need several of them doing it back to back.
And this is a special night for one Will Clark. The hitter now, a former San Francisco Giant. And of all the Ranger hitters in the order tonight, Will Clark has faced Mark Gardner more than any of them. Clark up there second in the league in hitting, with the average up to 371 after going 5 for 9 in the series in Minnesota. Of course, Clark coming over in free agency before the 1994 season. Before that, his career had been spent entirely in San Francisco. And what numbers he had put up through the years in San Francisco. The Rangers with an opportunity here in the bottom of the first inning, with 2 on and 2 out. Both the hits coming after the first 2 outs were made. And a called strike 2. Clark hitting well with runners on as well. But of his last 24 hits, 20 of them have been singles, and it's been a while since Clark's had an RBI. In fact, it's been 10 games since Will Clark had a home run or an RBI in a game, so he's due. The Rangers with a tough road trip in Kansas City and Minnesota, but they get the win last night. It was a 2-4 road trip. Start the night 3 games over 500. Back up the middle, off the glove of Gardner to Kent, on to first, and Gardner gets out of trouble in the first inning. We're scoreless through 1. Now these messages from your local station. Barry Bonds at the plate. Take a look at how the Rangers play Bonds way over in the infield. And that one's hit to McLemore on the grass for the first out of the second inning.
And that's why you have advanced scouts. That's a ball hit right in the hole. That's a base hit in a normal straightaway alignment. But McLemore is pulled way over, takes a base hit away from Barry Bonds. The interesting part of the shift is that the infielders were pulled way around to pull. The outfielders were actually played around the other way. Center fielder Damon Buford was over in left center field, so they play Bonds to pull when he hits the ball on the ground and to go the other way when he hits it in the air.
That ball's hit to right center field. On the run, converging, Newson and Buford. It's Newson who makes the play on the Mark Lewis fly ball to right center field, and there's 2 outs. And nice quick work by Darren Oliver. 2 outs in the second. Oliver's a guy who's had trouble in the first inning this year, so it was big for Darren to get out of the first inning. And now here in the second, a couple of pitches, a couple of outs. And here, for you trivia buffs, the first designated hitter for a National League team, Glenn Allen Hill. Glenn Allen Hill, normally the right fielder for the Giants, and Dusty Baker has him playing designated hitter tonight with Stan Javier in the field. One and one from Oliver. Glenn Allen Hill with good power, with 8 home runs. And he's had clutch power this year. Hasn't shown quite the power that we've seen from him before. But he and Barry Bonds have been getting it together here recently. Bonds with 3 home runs in the last week. You know, Barry Bonds, one of the big reasons why a lot of fans say they like interleague play. It's a chance to see a player like Bonds. Hit off the fist. Foul territory. Will Clark with the play, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Darren Oliver and the Rangers. We're through an inning and a half here at the ballpark, and we're scoreless. The second inning, Mark Gardner facing Dean Palmer, and Palmer hits one deep to right center field. Way back on the track is Javier to haul it in. Palmer gives it a good ride, but Javier there right at the fence to make the play in right center field.
The ball was hit very similar to the one that Mark Lewis hit to the Deacon out in right field last inning. But it's a nice sign to see Dino going the other way toward right center field. He got underneath it, which kept it from going out of the ballpark.
And check out Darrell Hamilton, who definitely knows the nooks and crannies of the ballpark in Arlington, helping out Stan Javier as Javier went over to make the play. So Palmer's the first out of the inning, and Mark McLemore back in the Ranger lineup with one at Kent. He boots it, and McLemore is aboard. The Giants have had trouble in the field, especially the last 30 games or so, and Jeff Kent boots that one.
Well, Jeff Kent's had problems so far in this ballgame. This is a routine ground ball. There's no need to backhand this ball. I mean, an infielder needs to get in front of this ball and make a routine play. For some reason, Kent tries to backhand the ball. He tried to backhand one earlier, which he had to backhand, but he hasn't been able to come up with either one of them. Rough start defensively for Jeff Kent.
Kent with 6 errors on the season now. Last year, he split time between the Mets and the Indians and had 22 errors in the field. Damon Buford with McLemore aboard at first base here in the bottom of the second. McLemore had his injury rehab the last 5 days or so. First down in Port Charlotte, and then the last 2 days at AAA Oklahoma City. Swing and a miss at the plate. It's amazing how quickly athletes can come back from arthroscopic knee surgery. Just had it on May 24th. McLemore has pronounced himself fit after his rehab stint. We'll see what he can do on the base pads now. Strike 2 to Buford. Buford had a tough night last night in Minnesota. The only Ranger starter last night without a hit. He went 0 for 5. Buford, the everyday center fielder for the Rangers after Darrell Hamilton owned it a year ago. That one's hit to third, over to second for the force play on McLemore coming down. Mark Lewis makes the play to Kent, and there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the second.
Not hit hard enough for a double play. McLemore essentially replaced at first base now by Damon Buford, who has yet to be thrown out on a steal attempt. And you'd have to think there's a pretty good chance that he'll be going right here if he can get a jump off a pitcher he hasn't seen much of.
Bill Ripken, the hitter, the number 9 man in Johnny Oates' order. And of course Gardner hasn't seen Buford much either. They have faced each other before. One time Buford with 12 stolen bases to start the season, tying a Ranger record to start a season. Not going, and it's called strike at the plate. You do like this Ranger lineup with McLemore back in there, Tom, and with Ripken at shortstop, particularly the way Ripken's been hitting the ball and fielding for that matter all season. Only 1 error.
He's been very steady and a clutch performer.
There goes Buford. And nobody covering second base. A mix-up in the Giant infield. Marcus Jensen, the catcher, ready to throw down, but neither the shortstop Vizcaíno or the second baseman Jeff Kent even covering second base.
It's a curveball, which is usually a good pitch to run on, but it stays up, so it's actually a good pitch for Marcus Jensen to throw. Unfortunately, both middle infielders were backing up on the play. He couldn't have thrown it into center field. They had that one blocked, but there was no one at second base.
That's 13 stolen bases in 13 attempts, and it's the first stand-up stolen base for Buford this season. Dusty Baker, the Giants manager, can't be pleased with the play of his infield here in the early going tonight. Up the middle, Ripken with a base hit, Buford around third, and Damon Buford scores the first interleague run ever. Billy Ripken, an RBI single with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. It's 1-0 Texas.
Billy Ripken coming into the ball game, Bill, was hitting .417 with men in scoring position, and he's added to it with a clutch single up the middle early in the ball game. Clutch single thanks to the error by Jeff Kent, which put the man at first base, and then the fact that no one covered second base on Buford's steal attempt. The Rangers will take a gift run, and they take the lead 1-0.
So for the record book, the first run in interleague play is an unearned run. And back to the top of the order in Warren Newson. And you see the way the Giants are playing defense in the infield here, and you wonder, boy, this is the way they play it over there in the National League. 1-0, and now 1-1 to Newson. They have had troubles in the field. They rank 12th in the National League in defense with 53 errors on the season.
Well, Dusty Baker must be doing one great job of managing. Either that or they're getting a lot of clutch performances almost on an everyday basis, because as you just said, Bill, the defense is bad. The hitting is second to the last. They only hit .243. The pitching has been pretty solid, but it's sixth. It's not like it's in the top 2 or 3. And they've been in first place almost the entire season, at least for the last month. But if you look at the individual numbers, pitching, defense, and hitting, it doesn't add up to first place. So give Dusty Baker some credit. He must be doing a great job managing that ball club.
Dusty Baker in his 5th year at the helm of the San Francisco Giants. Tonight equals the 3rd longest tenure of any Giants manager ever. Vizcaino will step on second for the force play on Ripken coming down. Newsom the final out of the inning. And we're through 2 here at the ballpark in Arlington. Now this from your local station. A brisk summer evening here in Arlington. 89 degrees right now outside. It's hot and steamy. Winds out of the southwest at 16. The flag's out in the outfield. Waving out there. Rangers lead at 1-0. It's a good start for Darren Oliver on the mound for Texas. And he'll face the bottom 3rd in the Giants order as we get things started here in the 3rd inning. Javier, Snow, and Jensen to face Oliver here in the 3rd. Stan Javier getting the start in right field tonight as Glenn Allen Hill moves to the designated hitter role for the Giants, and there's strike 1. You know, you talk about the wind here, Tom, with the flags blowing up high over the home run porch. Don't know that they necessarily had any effect on the 2 long fly balls we saw to right center field.
It's tough to tell from up here. You can tell much better down at field level. But both of those balls, as we discussed between innings, looked like they went about as far as you would expect based on the way they were hit. If anything, they might have been helped a little bit. Neither Lewis nor Palmer got all of those balls. They were underneath them just a bit. And they didn't look like home run strokes coming off the bat, although they both came close.
Bottom line here at the ballpark, if you hit a ball on a line to the outfield, even with the wind blowing like it is here tonight, you're going to reach that home run porch in right field. Sometimes that wind, when it even appears to be blowing in high in right field, can help a ball travel out that way. Just the way it circulates here at the ballpark in Arlington. Nice night and a nice crowd here. This one sold out several days ago. That one's hit high in the air to right field. Newsom back, and that ball is out of here. Just as we talk about the wind, Stan Javier gets the home run to right field on a line.
Well, that's the one we're talking about right there. That ball was hit well, but it was hit low. And I don't think that ball normally with no wind would have carried out of the ballpark. But that got up in the jet stream that the players say is created when the wind blows in. It hits behind home plate and blows back out. And it looked like this ball got halfway to the outfield and got in the jet stream and just was carried right out of the ballpark. Look how quickly Newsom goes after he sees the ball taking off. That looked like the wind helped that ball.
So Stan Javier has the first home run of the night. It's 1-1, San Francisco and Texas. Just as we start talking about the wind plays a factor in that home run, it appeared. That one's hit high off the bat of J.T. Snow. Rusty Greer over in the corner makes the play for the first out of the 3rd inning. The new Dodge brings you the Dodge leaderboard. The numbers for you, Willie Mays in the crowd tonight. 300 home runs, 300 stolen bases. It's the 300 club. And one of the players in tonight's game, Barry Bonds, joining his dad, Bobby Bonds, in that exclusive 300 club.
That's a pretty amazing statistic. There's 4 people in the history of baseball that have done that, and 2 of them are in the same family. Bonds known for not only power but also stolen bases. Nice backhand at third by Palmer. Long throw, and he gets Marcus Jensen for the second out of the inning. Nice play by Palmer. And we've seen that all season long from Dino. Great hands, whether he's going to his left or his right. He's come up with virtually every ball this year. He's made a couple of errors, but that's a tough play. The ball's almost by him. Now he's got to throw the ball all the way across the infield to get Jensen, and he does it. Nice play.
2 outs in the third. A 1-1 game. Back to the top of the order in Darrell Hamilton, who led things off in this interleague game with a single to right field off his good friend Darren Oliver. Darrell Hamilton putting together a remarkable streak in the field. As far as at the plate this year, comes in hitting a .258. It's now up to .264. Hit .293 for the Rangers last year. Clark with the play over to Oliver, and there's the third out of the inning. But the damage done by the Giants on the home run by Javier. Then it's a 1-2-3 inning. And we're back to the ballpark after this. Where we have a 1-1 tie as we head to the bottom of the third inning. And against San Francisco starter Mark Gardner, it's Rodriguez, Greer, and Gonzalez in the third for Texas. Ivan Rodriguez with a first inning strikeout. But Pudge has been hitting the ball well of late. Vizcaíno way over behind the bag makes the play for the first out of the third. Let's go around the league now. In Southwestern Bell, here's John Radigan.
Patty cake, batter man. Score me a run as fast as you can. Mark Loretta did just that for that little fan tonight. He has 2 sac flies. Jeff Cirillo scored on both as the Brewers try to snap a 6-game losing streak.
All right, John. Rusty Greer in against Gardner here with 1 out in the bottom of the third. Boy, those Brewers have had trouble on the road this season, and they've lost 6 in a row. Playing in Cleveland tonight. 0-2 to Greer. So not all interleague play tonight. Got the Brewers playing the Indians in an American League game, and the Red Sox and the Orioles. Rusty last night in Minnesota. He loves to hit at the Metrodome, and there you see an example of it. His 10th home run against the Twins, career-wise. And he's been another hitter who's been hot the last month or so for Texas. Average up over 300. In there this time at 314. And the count runs full to Greer. Mark Gardner started last season for San Francisco basically as their 5th starter. And as you mentioned earlier, Tommy, throughout his career hasn't really put up numbers that would qualify him as the quote-unquote ace of a staff, but he was the opening day starter this year. And particularly for a team that hasn't faced him much, he can be trouble. Rangers do have 1 run on 3 hits in the early go, and they make it 4 hits.
That's one of the few pitches early in the game that Gardner has thrown right down the middle. He's really hit the corners with his fastball. Let's look at all the pitches to Rusty Greer. Curveball outside corner, strike 1. Just misses with a fastball. Curveball down, 2-1. Fastball a little bit outside, 3-1. Fouled away and then hit up the middle. A 3-1 and a 3-2 fastball. Good pitches to hit. He fouled the first one off, and then Rusty took advantage of the second straight pitch right down the middle and laced it up the middle for a base hit.
So Rusty has his 2nd straight 2-hit night. Did so last night in Minnesota as well. And here's Juan Gonzalez. Gonzalez goes 3 for 5 last night. He had a single in the first inning tonight, as the Rangers had back-to-back singles in the first from Greer and Gonzalez. And Gardner falls behind 2-0 to Gonzalez. Glad you can join us on a nice Thursday night for some interleague baseball. 2-game series, Rangers and Giants tonight and tomorrow night, and then the San Diego Padres will be in on the weekend. Tony Gwynn, the reigning National League Most Valuable Player. Ken Caminiti. Be the first matchup of MVPs from the last year, unless there's been a trade through the years, but both league MVPs from last year, Caminiti and this guy Gonzalez. Gonzalez hits it deep to left field. Back on it is Bonds. He makes the play, and Greer will return to first base. Dr. Pepper Bottling Company of Texas and the Rangers have teamed up to bring you the official kids fan club of the Rangers. Dr. Pepper Junior Rangers get autographed photos, t-shirts, ballpark tours, tickets, and more. Call 817-273-5222 for information on the Dr. Pepper Junior Rangers. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third, and here's Will Clark with a man aboard at first base. A 1-1 tie. Rangers get their run in the second inning. Clark came up in the first with 2 on and 2 out, and bounced one off Gardner, and there goes Greer, and the throw to the shortstop side of second base, and Rusty Greer has the stolen base.
Rusty gets a good jump. Jensen has a chance to throw him out. He's got a strong arm, an excellent thrower from behind the plate. But his throw is toward the shortstop side of second base, and that allows Rusty Greer to get in front of Vizcaino's tag. That throws on the bag. Rusty's out.
So Rusty Greer moves into scoring position for Will Clark. That's the 4th stolen base of the season for Rusty. Rangers not known for stealing a lot of bases. Have 2 tonight. Damon Buford had his 13th of the season.
Johnny Oates says, I'm going to play some National League baseball tonight.
Show him how it's done.
Most people feel that the National League has more aggressive base running. They feel the parks are a little bit bigger. There's more AstroTurf. A little bit speed is a little bit more of the game. Power a little bit less of the game.
3-0 to Clark, and with first base now open, the Giants elect to put Clark on. And there's more in-game strategy, really, with the pitcher batting in the National League. As far as late-game moves, double switches and the like.
There is more strategy, but sometimes you wonder if too much is made out of that. I mean, when the pitcher, you have a choice whether you want to pinch hit for the pitcher, bring in a relief pitcher, or make a double switch when you change a pitcher. And, I mean, you really wonder how difficult is that for a relatively intelligent baseball manager who's done it for a little while. I mean, you're not talking about rocket science there. And I think so much is made of that you think you have to be a cerebral manager in the National League and some kind of a rum-dum in the American League. But I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal, really. It's not that difficult.
Dusty Baker, Giants manager. So Giants try to get out of this here in the bottom of the third inning. 2 on and 2 out. This is the second time. Also back in the first inning. Rangers had 2 on, 2 out, and Dean Palmer here with a chance. He flied to right his first time, back in the second. Rangers trying to break a 1-1 tie.
A lot of people are probably wondering what a double switch is. In the National League, let's say the pitcher is the next hitter and he runs into trouble during the game. The manager's going to pinch hit for him the next inning, but now he has to take him out of the game and bring in a new pitcher who he doesn't want to pinch hit for the next inning. What he does is he brings in the new pitcher and replaces the fielder who made the last out. The pitcher, the new pitcher, now hits in the place of the guy who made the last out. The man who just came into the game defensively becomes the first hitter of the next inning, and you don't have to use an extra player. That's an example of a double switch, and it's really not that difficult to do.
That ball's hit deep to left center field. On the run is Bonds on the track, and he's able to haul it in. For the second at bat tonight, Dean Palmer puts one on the track. And the Rangers can't score in the third. Now this from your local station. Oliver much better than his last outing in Kansas City.
Well, that's probably the most impressive thing about the start for Darren Oliver is how efficient he has been with his pitches. He'll face Vizcaíno, Kent, and Bonds, 2, 3, and 4 hitters for San Francisco in the top of the 4th. On the ground to Palmer. Foul ball. Called right off the bat by Jim McKean. Vizcaíno doesn't know it's foul. Jim McKean pointing to himself saying, hey, I called that ball foul. Let's come back. Dusty Baker's going to argue. I didn't see Ed Hickox, the third base umpire. He may have called it fair. I'm not sure. But it's the call of the home plate umpire, and Jim McKean called this ball foul right off the bat, and he's going to come down and explain himself to Dusty Baker.
In fact, that's what he's saying. If you read lips there, it's my call. It's what it appeared that Jim McKean was saying to Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker, as the manager usually does, will lose this argument. Vizcaíno chops a low fastball. Appears from that angle to be foul. The problem for the umpire at third base is he's shielded by the player's body. He catches the ball in front of his body and really can't see the ball. It's an easy call for the home plate umpire. That's why Jim McKean was saying, it's my call. Will Clark's not exactly sure what's been called, so he follows through with his throw. Vizcaíno gets to run the bases for a little bit of practice. Popped up on a good curveball, not close to a strike, but Mark McLemore makes the catch, and it's out number 1. We're going to take a look at some Bud Light scores as we go through the action here. Brewers beating the Indians in the 8th inning. Red Sox big over the Orioles 9-5. It's the marquee matchup of the interleague games. The power-hitting Rockies and the power-hitting Mariners. And the Padres and the Angels. Southern California matchup later on tonight. It's our Budweiser scoreboard. Rusty Greer, sky-high pop-up off the bat of Jeff Kent. Easy catch for Rusty, and another good start for Darren Oliver. 2 up, 2 down.
Oliver working nicely here.
He looks free and easy, very comfortable, very confident, throwing strikes. Good fastball, good curveball, several nice changeups. Bonds grounded out to McLemore. We talked about the shift the first time up. Billy Ripken playing on the other side of second base. Palmer playing where a shortstop would play on double play depth. McLemore over in the hole. Bonds has walked 57 times already this season. He's been walked intentionally 15 times. Fastball inside corner for a strike. People that scout the games regularly say you pitch Barry Bonds inside. That would seem to bear that out. Good fastball by Oliver on the inside corner, followed up by a curveball that Bonds swings and misses at. Now the count's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
No, it's interesting. With 15 intentional walks, he's got Mark Lewis, not known as a real power hitter, hitting behind him in this lineup.
Well, most people think that the 2 best players in baseball are Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey, and we talked about this earlier. If you put Griffey on this Giant team, he'd have 15 intentional walks, 57 walks, and wouldn't have nearly the stats that he does. Bonds hits this ball well to right center field. Buford calls for it near the 407 sign in deep right center field. Bonds just misses it. 3 up, 3 down for Darren Oliver, and after 3.5, it's 1-1. Mark Gardner and Darren Oliver. Mac, first game since coming off the disabled list. Mac's been on the disabled list about a month. He went on May 15th. Had surgery on his knee about 3 weeks ago. Says he feels great. Pops this one up, short left field. Bonds near the foul line. Makes his patented catch. A little bit of style to the catch. Mac is back, and Johnny Oates talks about what it's like to have him back.
but just knowing what he does in the clubhouse and in the dugout is going to be a plus. And we're going to leave him down in the bottom of the order maybe tonight and tomorrow night, and then hopefully he can get it going, and we'll put him back up at the top come Saturday here against the San Diego Padres.
Johnny's glad to have McLemore back in the lineup. I think Johnny has shuffled the lineup very well over the last month, but he prefers a set lineup. Likes to pencil the same guys into the same place, and having Mac back, although he may not stay in the 7th slot, is kind of a comfortable feeling for Johnny. The cut fastball by Gardner, who throws mostly fastballs and curveballs. Likes to keep the ball away with his fastball, strike you out with his curveball. Pretty good curveball, fouled away by Buford. Damon has been struggling. Now 0 for his last 14. 8 for his last 59 with 18 strikeouts. Still playing remarkable defense in center field, but struggling with the bat. Yep. 2-2 pitch. Hammered down the left field line. Bonds there to make the catch. Ball hit very well by Buford. But Bonds, with gold glove ability in left field, gets a quick jump on the ball and makes an easy play out of it. 2 up, 2 down for the Rangers. Let's take another look at it. Pretty good pitch by Mark Gardner. Pretty good pitch to hit, actually, for Damon Buford. It stays up. Barry Bonds always plays with flair. Quickly, Billy Ripken to Jeff Kent. Quickly, the Rangers 3 up and 3 down. Good inning for Mark Gardner. After 4, it's 1-1. Now a message from your local stations. Friday's Front Row Sports Grill. It's the only place to be during and after the ball game. And there it is, up in the home run porch in right field. Good look at the Front Row Sports Grill, and a good look at tonight's capacity crowd. 47,000 here tonight to view the first interleague game in baseball history. Mark Lewis leads off for the Giants. Lewis flied out to right field very deep at the track to Warren Newson. He's 0 for 1. He's hitting .279. We talked about all the walks that Barry Bonds has had this year. Glenn Allen Hill has hit behind him some. Mark Lewis tonight. Lewis hits this ball off the end of the bat. Fairly deep left field, but an easy play for Rusty Greer, who's there to make the catch. Both pitchers are throwing well. Not a lot of strikeouts, but they're throwing strikes, mixing their pitches up. A couple of balls hit well. Several balls where the hitter has just gotten underneath it. Seen a couple to right field. Dean Palmer's hit 2 of them. 1 to left field, 1 to right field. Bonds hit 1 to right field. Lewis hit another one. And here's another one. This ball hit sky high by Glenn Allen Hill. Back to the wall. Greer, with his back against the wall, makes the catch in front of the scoreboard for out number 2. And that is probably the 5th or 6th ball that the hitter has just missed today. Here's the first home run in interleague play. Stan Javier, line drive, looks like it got up in the wind and shot over the Deacon's head into the front row seats out in right field. That tied the score at 1-1. And here is Stan Javier.
Well, this interleague play goes fast, Tom. We're about halfway through this one, nearly 4.5 innings, and this game is right at an hour old. It started at 7:11.
It's all about pace, Bill. It's a game of pace. Sometimes it's slow. Billy Ripken on to Will Clark. That's it for Stanley Javier. That's it for the Giants. Good inning for Darren Oliver. Halfway through the game, it's still 1-1. Ripken hasn't had a chance on any kind of a consistent basis in the past to lead off, but he's done a good job of it this year. Good pitch by Gardner. Fastball on the corner. Deacons and out. Before Pudge Rodriguez hits, let's see what John Radigan's up to. John?
Out here with the crowd, Tom, and it's a great sellout crowd out here, a sellout crowd at the ballpark. And I tell you what, a friend of mine had a ticket to this game, and he didn't come, so it's not truly a sellout crowd. He said he wanted to keep the ticket. It may be worth something someday. It's memorabilia. It may be worth something. You never know. Yeah. Apparently, this isn't my friend's seat, Tom, so I'm going to have to get out of here. I'll talk to you later. All right, I'm sorry, man. See you guys.
That guy's a lot bigger than you are, too, John. I think he made the wise move by getting out of his seat.
I tell you, he gets no respect at all out there.
No respect. The Rodney Dangerfield of the Texas Rangers. Pudge Rodriguez hit no balls and 1 strike. Another good pitch by Gardner right on the outside corner. Rodriguez goes with it, but it's a ground ball to Jeff Kent, and it's out number 2. Talked a little bit about Gardner and the good location of his pitches. He's mixing in a good curveball with excellent location on his fastball. Not many fastballs in, however. He loves to keep the ball away. If you're the hitter, I think you have to go up there and look for that ball away because he just hasn't thrown many pitches inside. This ball's hit very well to center field by Rusty Greer. Hamilton on the run. He's not going to get it. It's off the wall. Hamilton plays it quickly, but Greer's into second base with a double. We get another look at that at bat. You'll see Marcus Jensen, the catcher, setting up outside, but watch the pitch. It comes right down the middle, and that's why Rusty Greer hammers it to center field for a 2-out double. That was a pitch that Gardner missed with, and Rusty took advantage of it. With a base open, Gardner walked Will Clark back in the 3rd inning. See what he does with Juan Gonzalez now. 2 outs, an open base at first, and Rusty Greer at second. We're in a good pitcher's battle, 1-1. There's that pitch on the outside corner again for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. People talk about Mark Gardner as a real student of the game. Somebody that studies the hitters, takes a lot of pride in his pitching mechanics, and knows the game. Same pitch, strike 2. Once the pitcher establishes that he can throw the ball where he wants to, the umpire sometimes is a little liberal with his strike call, but you have to be consistent as an umpire and a pitcher, and that's been the case tonight. Look at how far outside he is now. Jensen stepped almost out of the batter's box on the right side, and at no balls and 2 strikes, what he's doing when he steps that far outside is really stressing to the pitcher. Don't make a mistake. If you miss, make it even further outside. Maybe we'll get the hitter to swing at a bad pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gonzalez reaches for it, grounds it to second base. Kent makes the play. Greer is stranded at second. It's 1-1 after 5. Now these messages from your local station.
Hit his home run, the lone run for the Giants. Damon Buford scores the first run, though, in interleague play. 2nd inning. Bill Ripken up the middle, makes it into center field, and Buford scored. So Damon Buford has his place in the record books, and Bill Ripken the first RBI in interleague play. It's 1-1. Nicely played game as we go to the 6th inning, and just over the head of Mark McLemore. First batter of the 6th inning, Marcus Jensen is aboard. Check that, J.T. Snow. J.T. Snow is aboard. You see McLemore going back on that one and just beyond his outstretched arm.
It was a pretty good changeup from Darren Oliver. J.T. Snow hit it right off the end of the bat. It looked coming off the bat like Mac might have a chance, and he came about a foot away from it, but it just eluded him for a leadoff single here in the 6th inning.
So Snow is aboard, and he's running on the hit and run. Throw down, and easy play at second base as Pudge nails J.T. Snow. Marcus Jensen couldn't make contact at the plate on the hit and run.
Well, you know Pudge wanted to do that tonight to show anybody on the Giants who hasn't seen highlight films how he throws. J.T. Snow is out by about 20 feet. Tough pitch for Marcus Jensen. It's a hit and run. But the pitch is so far away, Jensen can't do anything with it, and JT is a dead duck at second base. This is the old laser beam right on target. The only thing Billy Ripken has to worry about is trying not to get spiked by JT Snow.
1-2 to Jensen. Earlier tonight we saw Damon Buford with a stand-up steal of second for the Rangers, and JT Snow might as well not have tried to slide on that one. There was no chance. And there's strike 3 called. Darren Oliver keeps on keeping on here.
Well, that's the pitch that the umpire behind the plate, Jim McKean, has called all night long. Rodriguez sets up out there, and Darren Oliver hits his glove, and they get the call. The look at it shows that it's very close to the outside corner. If it's not a strike, it missed by about an inch. Remember, the whole ball doesn't have to touch home plate. Any part of the ball just has to nick that outside corner for it to be a strike.
0-1 to Hamilton.
They call that hitting the black being the edge of the plate.
Fergie Jenkins was great at that.
He could hit the black. For about 20 years he did it.
That one's hit to Clark. And after the leadoff single, it turns out to be a 1-2-3 inning for Darren Oliver. It's a 1-1 here at the ballpark. Now this. Try to break that 6-game losing streak, and things looking good so far for the Brewers tonight in Cleveland. That's American League play. This is interleague play. It's the Rangers and San Francisco Giants, and Will Clark against his former team. It's been a while since he played at San Francisco now in his 3rd year with Texas, but 1-1. Mark Gardner working to Will Clark here. Clark leading off the bottom of the 6th inning in a 1-1 game. It's Clark, Palmer, and McLemore for Texas. Mark Gardner on the mound for San Francisco has pitched well, as has Darren Oliver. And Gardner, in his last outing, went up against the Atlanta Braves and Greg Maddux and pretty much matched Maddux pitch for pitch, although Maddux had a perfect game going on into the 6th inning against this guy Gardner, and who else but the pitcher Mark Gardner broke up the perfect game that Maddux had.
Took matters into his own hands.
Gardner not with a chance to hit tonight, as the designated hitter rule is in effect in the American League ballpark. In the hole, Clark has a leadoff single, his first hit of the night. And perhaps the Rangers have something going here in the bottom of the 6th.
There's a look at the fastball that Will Clark got. It was toward the outside part of the plate, but not as far outside as Gardner would like to have gotten it. Still a pretty good pitch. Will gets the good part of the bat on the ball, pulls it into right field for a leadoff hit. See what Dino can do. He's had 2 good swings tonight, just missed a couple of home runs.
Palmer put a couple deep into the gaps. Right center first, then left center. And right up against the wall, San Francisco outfielders were able to make the play on Palmer. Palmer coming off a good series in Minnesota, had a couple of hits last night and 3 hits the night before. Check in on Clark at first base. Will Clark, his last 25 hits, now 21 have been singles. He has the leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th. The way this interleague play is shaping up this year, the American League West playing only the National League West, a total of 16 games this season. Get started tonight. And in the American League ballparks, National League teams will use the DH. And in National League ballparks, the pitchers will have to hit.
That was a great view from behind home plate at the hitter's level of an excellent curveball. Get a little bit of an idea what the hitter has to look at. 1-2 to Palmer. Catcher shifts outside. There's a curveball. You can get an idea of how that thing hooks while you're up there. And if you've never stood up there and tried to hit one, you really don't have any idea how tough it is. There's another look at it in slow motion. Watch it disappear. Whoop. Dino just got a piece of it. Fouled it off to stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You can't hit the major league curveball. It can shorten your career very quickly. And a lot of people have trouble hitting that major league curveball. Palmer goes down. 0 for 3 tonight.
There's one of the few balls that Gardner's come inside with.
Now Sonic Drive-In presents tonight's scoring summary. Here's how the runs were driven in. It was Ripken with the single, scoring Buford in the second, putting Texas on the board first. And then Stan Javier with a line drive home run in the third to knot things at 1. And that's where we stand now in the bottom of the 6th inning, with Clark aboard at first base. Sonic, where they invite you to drive in for a change. Your Sonic scoring summary here in the 6th. Well, they're checking in on Clark at first base.
Don't ask me why. You know, though, the last time I said that, Lee Stevens was at first base and he ended up running, so I'm not saying anything.
Now, back in his younger days in San Francisco, he was known to steal a base or two, and there goes Clark.
See that? Those pitchers know a lot more than we do. Every time we think there's no chance, there they go. Well, this is not a straight steal, of course. It's a hit and run. You've got a guy at the plate, McLemore. Johnny likes to get things going in a close ball game like this. You got a guy that can handle the bat and make contact. You start the runner, try to open up a hole in the infield. Someone's got to cover second base if the guy's running. And with that open hole, you hope to get a base hit and then at first and third.
Just for the record, Will Clark has no stolen bases this season. And had 5 back in '94 here with the Rangers. Best year in San Francisco, yes, he could steal a base a time or two. Had 12 stolen bases for the Giants back in '92. Pitch out that time.
I thought something else might have been on.
Will Clark peering over at the signs from Jerry Nairn, the third base coach.
Now it's 2 balls and 1 strike. You doubt very much they'll pitch out 2 balls and 1 strike. See if Johnny goes back to the hit and run.
And once again to first base.
Gardner thinks he might. He's going to make sure he keeps him close.
A 1-1 game.
Thing is, on a hit and run, the runner's not trying to get a great jump. He's depending on the hitter to hit the ball. There it is.
There goes Clark, and that one's hit foul down the left side. No chance for Lewis, the third baseman.
The worst thing you can do as a base runner on a hit and run is get picked off at first base. Therefore, coaches and managers will tell the runner, get a jump, but you make sure he delivers the ball to the plate. It's not a straight steal attempt. If you're thrown out at second because the batter misses the ball, that's his fault. You've done your job. Straight steal attempt's a little bit different. Now you've got to get a good jump because the batter's not going to protect you with a swing, and it's up to you to beat the throw to second base. Hit and run's much different.
We saw this in the top half of this inning as well with J.T. Snow, the Giants first baseman, aboard at first base, and Marcus Jensen wasn't able to get a pitch from Darren Oliver, and it was an easy out at second base. Now the game of cat and mouse continues here. There goes Clark, and this one's fouled off.
Now with 3 balls and 2 strikes, Johnny starts the runner to stay out of a double play. The way that you can get burned on this play is if McLemore strikes out and Jensen throws Clark out at second base. What the manager says in this situation is he doesn't think McLemore is going to strike out. Therefore, he's not worried about that.
There goes Clark, and that one's hit in the gap, left center field. No chance for the outfielders. Here comes Clark around third. He'll score. Mark McLemore around second. He's headed into third, and Mark McLemore, welcome back. an RBI triple, and the Rangers have the lead.
Well, Clark might have scored on that ball anyway. In fact, he probably would have. But the fact that he was running on the play made it a certainty that he would score. Nice hitting by McLemore. That's a good pitch from Gardner, a tailing fastball on the outside part of the plate. He deposits it right between Bonds and Hamilton. Rolls to the wall. Clark scores easily, and Mac has a triple. Mac showing no signs of a bad knee. Running hard all the way. That's nice to see.
And he loves being back. Mark McLemore, who had a slow start to this season, in large measure due to the fact he injured his hand on opening day. His average was down below 200, but he is back.
You see the Giants probably cautious for a squeeze play right here. Buford has been striking out, not hitting the ball well, and here it is.
Here comes McLemore, and that one's fouled back. Giants with the infield in, expecting this.
You got a man on third base and one out. Sacrifice fly will score him. The infield is in. Johnny Oates knows what Damon Buford has done over the last week or 10 days, and that is not make good contact. Doesn't want to strike out in this situation, so he went to the squeeze play. Giants chose not to pitch out. Buford had a pitch to bunt and fouled it off.
And that one's hit in the air. Here comes Bonds. McLemore was tagging, not hit deep enough. McLemore doesn't even make an attempt. Hit on a line to left field for the second out of the inning. This interleague play is good stuff.
It's been exciting. Quick moving game, well pitched.
Some strategic situations here.
Johnny right now is thinking, we surprised him with a squeeze play. We had a chance to go up 3-1. The pitch was buntable, and Buford fouled it off. That's not executing a key play in a close ball game, and that'll drive a manager crazy. The strategy succeeded. The pitch was there. The execution wasn't.
And here's Bill Ripken. Called strike one. Rangers lead it 2-1, bottom of the sixth inning. Big swing and a miss from Ripken at the plate.
Billy loves that pitch. Got a base hit on that last night in Minnesota. Looked like a hit and run. It was such a bad pitch. He likes to try to tomahawk this ball. He can't quite reach that one, though. See if Ripken can add to his 400-plus average with men in scoring position. He's already done it once tonight.
Ripken had the first RBI in interleague play back in the second. We have 2 outs here in the bottom of the sixth inning. And Bill Ripken trying to bring Mark McLemore home. As McLemore back in the lineup, had an RBI triple, scoring Will Clark, who led off the inning with a single. That one's in the dirt. Jensen able to block it. Great night here at the ballpark. Sellout crowd enjoying some interleague baseball. First game ever in Major League history between American and National League teams. And Mark Gardner trying to get out of this jam, and Jensen able to block that ball again.
That was a saving play. McLemore at third base. Jensen jumps way out to his right. Blocks a tough curveball in the dirt. Watch how far he goes to block this ball. Nice play. If he doesn't block that ball, the third run scores.
Gardner now through 5 2/3 innings is over 100 pitches tonight. In contrast to Darren Oliver. And that ball's hit into left field, a base hit. For the second time tonight, Billy Ripken has an RBI single, and the Rangers lead it 3-1.
Well, they know that Billy Ripken will swing at the high fastball. The problem with Gardner is he didn't get it high enough. He gets it on the inside part of the plate. Ripken jumps up after it and hits it sharply into left field. His second base hit of the game with a man in scoring position. second time he's done it with 2 outs. And we were wondering whether Johnny Oates would leave Billy Ripken at shortstop. I think that question has been answered so far tonight. You'll see Billy at shortstop tomorrow night, I would have to think.
Top of the order, Warren Newsom. Strike one. Ripken now, in his last 15 games, has 12 RBIs. He has been producing with runners in scoring position once again tonight. Twice he's come through, improving on that .417 average with runners in scoring position. Pitch out.
Dusty Baker thinks Johnny Oates is going to run every time someone gets at first base. He's pitching out, not taking any chances.
One and one to Warren Newsom with a man on at first base. You know, it's interesting, the matchup of managers. You were talking earlier about managing in the National League as opposed to the American League, but really it's just managing baseball, isn't it?
Still a baseball game. You take each individual situation and try to make a decision. Close games, it happens almost every pitch. A lot of times managers or someone on the bench will call the pitches for the catcher. Not all the time. Managers or a coach on the bench always call the pitch outs. Very seldom does a catcher call a pitch out unless he's a veteran catcher. That's why you see the catchers looking into the dugout so often to get the signs from the bench.
Fouled back. Count holds 1 and 2. Or 2 and 2 make that. Rangers scoring 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning to take a 3-1 lead.
The Horn Man is in attendance tonight.
Excited about interleague play?
He is. Cheering on his favorite team.
The Horn Man's seated right below us here at the ballpark in Arlington. There he is, getting some quality airtime.
I don't know if the young lady with him is his sister, his wife, or his girlfriend, but they come to a lot of games, and I don't think anyone enjoys the ball game more than those two. Their favorite thing is the Cotton Eye Joe. Occasionally they'll do the YMCA. They'll play the horn, and they will cheer hard for the Rangers.
Back up the middle, off of Gardner to Vizcaino, and the force play goes 1-6 to 4 for the final out of the 6th inning. But the Rangers get a couple of runs, and we're back after these messages from your local station. Look at the big crowd on hand for the start of interleague play. Texas Rangers, and what a night for Darren Oliver through 6. A 3-hitter through 6, and very economical with the pitches. Oliver only 55 pitches through 6 innings as we head to the 7th here. How about that?
Well, anytime you can average fewer than 10 pitches per inning, you're doing a very efficient job of pitching. Look at the last 2 innings, 13 pitches in 2 innings.
And you go back to Darren's second and third starts of the season back in April, where he had back-to-back 8-inning starting stints and threw 93 and 90 pitches in those 2. And this is as efficient as we've seen Darren Oliver since then, for sure.
He's only struck out 1 batter, but he hasn't walked anybody, and through 6 innings he's only faced 1 more batter than necessary.
Jose Vizcaino with the leadoff single here in the 7th. With the Southwestern Bell Around the League update, here's John.
Indians fans don't like what they're seeing at the Jake tonight. The Brewers padded their lead in the 8th inning. It's Dave Nilsson with his 7th home run of the year, a 2-run shot to right. The Brewers move into 2nd place in the Central with a win tonight.
All right. Brewers over the Indians, snapping that 6-game losing streak and finally winning a game on the road. Here's a former Indian Jeff Kent here as the Giants now get to the meat of their order with the leadoff man on, Vizcaino, here in the 7th. Only the 4th hit off Darren Oliver. Kent to be followed by Barry Bonds. So this is a key inning as Oliver nurses a 2-run lead. We'll check in over at first base just to put this pitch count in perspective even more. In Oliver's last start in Kansas City, where he got roughed up for 6 runs and 7 hits in 5 innings, he had 88 pitches in 5 innings that night, or that afternoon. This is the best we've seen Darren in a while.
You ought to mention, Bill, that Danny Patterson pitched tonight for Tulsa. He pitched an inning, gave up a couple of hits, 3 unearned runs. He's going to rejoin the team on Friday. It's not known yet whether or not he'll be activated, but he'll be back here on Friday and eligible to be activated. Danny, of course, got off to a great start out in the Ranger bullpen. They've missed him.
Back up the middle, second straight single right back up the middle. Jeff Kent is aboard. The first 2 are on for the Giants here in the 7th. Here's a look at the upcoming Rangers telecast, brought to you by your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealers. The Giants in here for one more tomorrow night as interleague play continues on Channel 39. And then on Channel 5, San Diego Padres. And Saturday, back on KXTX 39. Right here on Sunday, it's 7. Night games throughout this homestand, a brief 4-game homestand, and you can see them all on Lynn, Channel 39 in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and Channel 5 on Saturday night. Dick Bosman out of the Ranger dugout to talk to Darren Oliver, with Barry Bonds coming up.
We got to mention, while we've got a second, that Mark Holtz is doing well. He's in the hospital, of course, going through chemotherapy. I talked to him on the phone today, and he wanted to make sure again that we thank all the well-wishers who have written, called, all the people whose prayers are with Mark. He wants all of you to know how much he appreciates it, and he's hanging in there.
Mark, we want you back here as soon as possible. Lots of all the Ranger players and coaches and manager Johnny Oates pass along.
He did tell me one thing, Bill, and that was to tell you to take the Coke away from your scoreboard. That was one of his pet peeves.
Barry Bonds hit with the pitch, and Bonds is aboard, and the bases are now loaded. It's his pet peeve, huh?
That's his pet peeve. Get rid of the Coke. Well, we mentioned earlier that a lot of pitchers try to throw Barry Bonds inside. This is not a fastball. He's not trying to throw this ball inside. This is a curveball that hangs up. Bonds was hit by it, but it's not a fast pitch. A curveball is a slower pitch and doesn't hurt quite like a fastball.
And Johnny Oates has the bullpen up now. Eric Gunderson, the left-hander, Xavier Hernandez, the right-hander. We saw them both last night, and they both came on and pitched very well last night in Minnesota. It's now a bases-loaded, no-out jam here in the top of the 7th inning for Darren Oliver. Just as things are going so swimmingly. And this one is popped up into shallow right field. Tough play, and it falls in front of Newson. From third, the throw not in time. From third, it's Jose Vizcaíno scoring, cutting the lead to 3-2 on the pop single into shallow right field that Newson and McLemore, neither one had a chance on.
This ball is popped up pretty high to fairly significant right field. The Deacon doesn't even come close to it. He must have been playing way back in right field against Mark Lewis. So well-located blooper in a tough inning so far for Darren Oliver. Vizcaíno and Kent hit the ball hard. Bonds was hit in a blooper, and the Rangers are in trouble here in the 7th inning.
With Glenn Allen Hill up, and that one's just foul, just outside of third base. Saw the graphic earlier. Glenn Allen Hill, he's 0 for 2 tonight, but his home runs have been clutch home runs this season. He has 8, and the bases loaded, no outs, 1 run already in for the Giants here in the top of the 7th.
What you need here is a pop-up or a strikeout, or ideally a ground ball right back to the mound where you can go home for the force out and back to first base for the double play without a run scoring. That's what you'd be hoping for. Or a line drive right at an infielder. That wouldn't be bad.
That one's hit to left center field. Going back is Greer. Tagging is Kent. The throw goes into second base as Bonds moves along to third as well, and Jeff Kent scores the tying run. Glenn Allen Hill with the sacrifice fly to left field, and this game is tied.
Well, it's hit deep enough to where both runners tag. In fact, all three runners tag. Kent scores easily. Bonds goes to third, and this is a heads-up play by Rusty Greer. There's no chance to throw anyone out at third or home, but you have to get the ball into second quickly to keep the double play in order. If the guy at first, Lewis, tags up and goes to second, now it's second and third and one out. As it stands, it's first and third and one out, and you have a chance for a double play with Javier at bat.
So 2 runs in, and now Javier hits one down the line in right field corner, and it falls for a base hit. In to score is Bonds, the go-ahead run, and putting on the brakes at third base is Mark Lewis. It's a double, and the Giants have the lead. Stan Javier comes through again. And this has happened all of a sudden like against Darren Oliver in the 7th inning.
We talked about how efficient Darren had been with his pitches. He cruised through 6 innings, but it's fallen apart here in the 7th. Another well-located ball right down the line. The Deacon can't get to it. The lead is 4-3 for the Giants. They're going to walk J.T. Snow intentionally and pitch to the 9th place hitter Marcus Jensen. He was the only strikeout victim today for Darren Oliver. The Rangers want to get a strikeout or a double play to keep this score no worse than 4-3.
So Darren Oliver walking J.T. Snow intentionally. Marcus Jensen, the number 9 batter, is due up with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning, and 3 runs already in. The bases will be loaded again for the Giants. Let's go around the league. Southwestern Bell and John Radigan.
Only 2 other early games tonight, and both are now finals. The Brewers' 6-game losing streak is over. Jeff Cirillo scored 2 runs and drove in 2 on this 9th inning triple down the line and right. The Brewers are just 3.5 games behind the Indians in the Central.
All right, top of the 7th here, and here is Marcus Jensen with the bases loaded. Giants already with 3 in, and it's a 4-3 San Francisco lead all of a sudden. Pop foul right side, out of play. Jensen hitting only 172. Number 9 hitter in the order. You wonder why maybe Dusty Baker wouldn't pinch hit for him at this point. With 1 out, we get late in this game.
Well, one thing a manager likes to do is keep his best defensive team in there if you have a lead late in the ball game, and that may be the case with Marcus Jensen. Not as strong a hitter, but possibly a better defensive player behind the plate, and he may want to stay with him. The Rangers have been running a lot tonight. Jensen is their best thrower, and he probably wants that combination behind the plate.
He does have 2 veteran catchers available on his bench. Dusty Baker does. Damon Berryhill, who just came off the disabled list, and Rick Wilkins. 0-2 to Jensen. Just inside from Oliver. So Oliver comes into this inning having only thrown 55 pitches in 6 innings, but he runs into trouble here in the 7th. Strike 3 called. And there's the 2nd out of the inning. Darrell Hamilton, the next hitter for the Giants, and Darrell facing his old pal, Darren Oliver.
Darren and I, we had great times last year, and you know, we always talked about the times we faced each other when I was in Milwaukee, and he's always, before he struck me out this many times, I always thought I got a hit off him. So we can end the questions tonight when we face each other.
That one inside, Darren to Darrell. Hamilton had the first interleague hit back in the 1st, a single off Oliver, and then Oliver able to get Hamilton twice on grounders to 1st. So right now, Hamilton 1 for 3 against Oliver. The 9th batter of the 7th inning for San Francisco. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
That's a big strikeout of Marcus Jensen. Sacrifice fly would have scored the 5th run. Ground ball that they don't turn a double play could have scored it. A lot of different ways you could score another run. But the big strikeout keeps it at 4-3. It's an excellent curveball. Freezes Jensen right down the middle. Now another big out right here. If you can get Hamilton, the Rangers are still within 1 run. Plenty of time left. You just don't want a base hit here to open the game up.
2-1 to Hamilton. A key moment here with the Giants up by 1 run. Hamilton has fared well in this situation throughout his career. And that one's hit to left, or to center field. Damon Buford has no problem at all. And Darren Oliver able to get out of it, but 3-run score for the Giants in the top of the 7th inning. It's stretch time in Arlington with Tom Grieve. And the Giants come through with 3 runs in the top half of this inning to take the lead, 4-3. Mark Gardner now moving into his 7th inning of work, and will be facing the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for the Rangers, Rodriguez, Greer, and Gonzalez. Rodriguez without a base hit tonight, but he has been hitting well of late. Backs so well. Rodriguez second behind the other Rodriguez in hits in the American League. Alex Rodriguez of Seattle. All the American League West teams playing at home tonight against National League West clubs. Two and 2 to Rodriguez. Gardner in his last outing against Atlanta went 8 innings. Did not figure in the decision, giving up 1 earned run on 3 hits against those Braves.
Gardner trying to hit that outside corner. Thought he had another one. Jim McKean said that one was just too far outside to call.
And that one's hit to Kent second. Over to first, and there's an easy out. Ivan 0 for 4 tonight. 3rd straight ground out for Pudge. Now Gardner, you talk about him being a cerebral pitcher. Well, he hadn't figured out a way to get out Rusty Greer yet tonight, Tom.
No, he hasn't. He's working on it, though.
Greer 3 for 3 tonight. In fact, Rusty is now 9 for his last 15. A single in the first, a single in the third, a double over the head of Darrell Hamilton in center field in the 5th inning. Hamilton playing that shallow center field that we used to see from him last year, about medium deep back there, but particularly Rusty, he sent one over his head last time. Darrell likes to go back on balls.
You look at the Giant outfield, and it's probably one reason they're in first place. They play excellent defense in their outfield, especially when these 3 guys are in the lineup. Barry Bonds is a Gold Glover in left field, one of the best. Hamilton's gone forever without making an error in center field. And Javier's been a center fielder in right field.
That one went off Gardner's glove to Kent. Score it 1-4-3 for the 2nd out of the inning. It's time for the American League West Division Diary presented by Miller Lite. Talk about those Seattle Mariners. They're in first place. They beat Roger Clemens yesterday. Lead the West by a half game over Anaheim and Oakland with those 13 home wins this season, tied with the Red Sox for fewest in that category in the American League. So Gardner gets the first 2 here in the 7th, and Juan Gonzalez now the batter. You talk about Hamilton and the way he can field the ball in center field. Playing his 800th career game tonight is Darrell Hamilton, and he only has 8 errors in those 800 games.
remember the note that we used to have last year with Hamilton. I can't remember it exactly, but he is very close to being one of the top percentage-wise outfielders in the history of Major League Baseball. He needs a certain amount of games to qualify.
1,000 games, I believe.
Is that what it is?
Terry Poole. Yep, Terry Poole has the record.
Well, he's getting close to it.
And now he has 800 games. And in fact, tonight, if he doesn't make an error tonight, Darrell Hamilton will have his errorless streak at 200 games in a row. Juan can't believe the call. He's a strikeout victim at the plate. It's a 1-2-3 inning. And now this from your local station. Francisco over Texas. Darren Oliver going into his 8th inning of work. Gave up the 3 in the 7th. But other than that, has pitched very well. Jose Vizcaino, the same man who led off that 7th inning, leading things off here, and a right at Clark. Knee high line drive. Clark no problem at all, and there's the first out of the 8th. Giants bat around in the 7th. But this one starts a little better for Darren Oliver. As back in the 7th inning, the first 4 men got on, including this guy, Jeff Kent. In fact, Vizcaino and Kent had back-to-back line drive singles up the middle. Hard hit balls. And both came around to score, as did Barry Bonds back in the 7th.
Darren Oliver had 9 batters he had to face in the 7th inning, but only threw 21 pitches. He still only has 76 pitches coming into the 8th inning.
Sky high to Warren Newsom for the second out of the inning. Spend a night at the ballpark. Sleepovers for children in grades 3 through 5 on non-game Friday nights, offered by the Legends of the Game Baseball Museum and Learning Center. To book your group, call 817-273-5087. Sleepovers at the ballpark. That one's hit by Bonds into left center field, and it's going all the way to the wall. Barry Bonds is in with a rarity this season for Barry Bonds. One of the most unbelievable statistics that we've seen in a while. Barry Bonds comes in tonight with only 4 doubles on the season. For Barry Bonds, that's unbelievable. There's number 5.
There's a look at that guard he wears on his elbow, too. Talked the other night about how several guys use that guard. Canseco, Mo Vaughn.
Rusty playing it off the wall there, and that'll be it for Darren Oliver. Calling it a night with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Johnny Oates is out to change pitchers, and back after these messages from your local station.
Official cancellation stamp. People are getting these stamped on programs, on ticket stubs. This is for memorabilia buffs to prove they were here. They'll stamp it on anything. I don't have anything but my face, so this proves I was here, doesn't it? Back to you guys.
All right, John Radigan.
Just another pretty face, that's all he is.
And the Giants leading the Rangers 4-3 in the top of the 8th with 2 outs. New pitcher for Texas, as Darren Oliver is done for the night. It's Xavier Hernandez.
Well, the X-Man has been hot for Johnny Oates. He's been pitching very well over the last couple of weeks. He's lowered his ERA down to 3.58. Hits fewer than innings pitched by 5. Doing a nice job in that setup relief role.
Came on last night. Got a big strikeout against the Twins, protecting a 3-run Ranger lead at that point. He and Eric Gunderson came on in the 7th to strike out Roberto Kelly and Pat Mears back-to-back. Hernandez getting Mears. Now he faces Mark Lewis here with Bonds aboard at second base. And a swing and a miss. Hernandez, in fact, going an inning and a third last night. And the Twins couldn't touch him. Hernandez filling that setup role for John Wetland very well with the absence of Danny Patterson the last couple of weeks. That one's hit to center field. Damon Buford going back. And Buford has no problem with it. We're through 7.5 innings here at the ballpark in Arlington. The Rangers need a run. Or more can purchase tickets at half the regular adult price in the upper box, upper reserved, home run porch, and grandstand reserve sections. For ticket information, call Metro 817-273-5100. Bottom of the 8th inning, and Will Clark, the first man to face Mark Gardner. Now into his 8th inning of work. Clark had a single his last time up and scored a run as the Rangers snapped a 1-1 tie in the bottom of the 6th inning. Rangers scoring 2 in that inning to take a 3-1 lead, but the Giants came back to score 3 in the 7th and have a 4-3 lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning now. It's Clark, Palmer, and McLemore to face Gardner. Gardner going into this inning with already 125 pitches. Doug Henry is the man up in the Giant bullpen right now, and don't forget they also have Rod Beck, their stopper, to call upon in the 9th. 2-2 to Clark. Rod Beck leading the National League in saves with 19. And this has been a rarity for San Francisco's starting pitching over the last 16 games. The starters have only gone into the 6th. Bill Miller in at third base for San Francisco. San Francisco's starting pitchers over the last 16 games only have gone 6 innings 6 times. That one's hit to Hamilton in center field. And the errorless streak continues for Darrell Hamilton, going for number 200 in a row tonight. Rangers making some roster news this week. Todd Van Poppel, the former Arlington Martin star, high school pitcher from here in the Metroplex, signed to a minor league contract. He'll start for Port Charlotte, Class A ball on Sunday. Van Poppel fallen on hard times in the last couple of years, released by 4 organizations, but Todd Van Poppel ready to start over in the Ranger organization.
Well, it's nice to see, too, Bill, that the Rangers had the common sense to send him to a low classification so he could comfortably get back into pitching form. I think so much emphasis is, and I don't know who's placed it, the teams that have signed him, his agent. I doubt it's Todd, but it seems like so much emphasis has been placed on getting back to the big leagues instead of getting back into pitching shape, getting back to the form that he had a number of years ago. Here's a kid that's still only 25 years old. He's got a lot of pitching ahead of him. But in my opinion, he has to go back to square one, start all over again, trust a pitching coach, make some changes that he needs to make, and then relax and pitch at a level where there's no pressure. And whether that's Port Charlotte or somewhere else, I'm not sure. But I'm glad that the Rangers sent him to Class A ball and said, don't even think about higher ball. Just go down and straighten yourself out. Doesn't really matter if it happens this year or not. There's plenty of time down the road for it, even if it's next year.
Looks like the deal with Todd Van Poppel right now is to make 4 starts at least in Port Charlotte and then reevaluate things and see if he's ready to move up a classification to AA Tulsa.
That's fine. You know, as long as there's no stipulation that he has to move up regardless of the results. If he still struggles in 4 starts, stay there and don't be in a rush.
Still a young guy, Todd Van Poppel. Came out in 1990, signed out of high school. The first-round pick, number 14 overall by Oakland.
He's a great kid. He's a hard worker. And I haven't been close to Todd over the years. If I had to guess of any problem he might have had, it's being too nice a kid and listening to too many people and getting confused with all the advice. Sometimes you have to just say, hey, look, I was drafted high because I've got a great arm, and I'm going to do it my way to a certain degree. I have to listen to some people, but sometimes you can get confused with all the advice. And the bottom line is Todd's the one that has to throw it. No reason why he can't do it well again.
Right now, throwing it for San Francisco and throwing it well is Mark Gardner with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Rangers needing a run to tie, 2 to take the lead. It's getting late in this one. The Rangers with precious few opportunities now. Palmer hits this one to left field, and Barry Bonds has it measured. 6-time Gold Glover with the swipe snatch of that one. And there's 2 outs.
Boy, Dino has come close tonight 3 times. That ball doesn't go very far. The reason is he hit it off the end of the bat. And there's the patented Barry Bonds catch. A little bit of Ricky Henderson, or maybe Ricky Henderson has a little bit of Barry Bonds, but Dino hit that toward the end of the bat. He had a good pitch to hit and a good swing. He was just a little bit out in front of it. He's got 2 fly balls to the warning track that he just missed. So a frustrating 0 for 4, but some pretty good swings.
McLemore, first ball hitting to Darrell Hamilton, and we're headed to the 9th inning. It's 4-3 San Francisco. Now these messages from your local station. It's 4-3, both teams with 8 hits. Xavier Hernandez, who got the final out of the 8th inning, facing Glenn Allen Hill to start things off in the 9th. Trying to hold San Francisco at bay. Hill, Javier, and Snow facing Hernandez here. And we have, as mentioned before tonight, a sellout crowd. The numbers on it, 46,507, 3rd largest of the season, 14th largest regular season crowd in history here at the ballpark. 4th sellout of 97. By the way, big crowds expected for the entire weekend. That one's lofted by Hill. Down the line in right field. Long run for Newson in foul territory. He makes the play. Got blocked over here, but nice play by Warren Newson on the run.
Boy, he had to go a long way to catch this ball, and then he has to contend with a wall. That's a super play, and Warren is very relieved to have caught it. That's one you're not sure as you're running. You know you've got a long way to go. You know the wall is coming up. But that's a nice play and a long run.
Very relieved he didn't run into the wall, too.
Yes, there's padding there, but that still hurts when you run into it.
So Glenn Allen Hill, the first out here in the 9th inning for the Giants. Brings up Stan Javier, who's been a real nemesis tonight for the Rangers. Javier with a homer earlier, also an RBI double. Check out Newson again. Just look how far he had to run for this ball.
Will can't get to it. He's traffic, being the traffic policeman out there.
1-0 to Javier. Called strike 1-1. Talk about big crowds expected for the weekend. Giants conclude this 2-game series here tomorrow night. 2,500 tickets remain for tomorrow night. About 4,000 remain for Saturday night when the San Diego Padres come here to start a 2-game series. Saturday night and Sunday night. There are still tickets left, but not many. Nice pitching night for both Darren Oliver and Mark Gardner. The 2 starters tonight. Oliver had a rough go in a 3-run 7th. That one is hit by Javier over the glove of Will Clark into right field. And Stan Javier has his 3rd hit of the night.
Javier, the only batter in the lineup tonight for the Giants, hitting over 300, and he had to get 3 hits tonight to do it. He was hitting 295 coming into the game. Boy, he's looked like a good hitter tonight. Got the home run, a double, and now a sharp single that might have gone off the top of Will Clark's glove.
Rangers needing to keep San Francisco with just a 1-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th. You would anticipate that the Giants would bring on their closer, Rod Beck, in relief of Mark Gardner, the starter, who is way up there as far as number of pitches with 139. And Rod Beck, the stopper for San Francisco, one of the best in the business. There he is. He's warmed and ready. 19 saves on the season to lead the National League, one behind the Major League leader Mariano Rivera of the Yankees. Here's J.T. Snow facing Xavier Hernandez with one out in the ninth and a man on. And Snow hits this one into right center field, converging Buford and Newson, and Buford makes the play for the second out of the inning. So 2 out. And look at the save totals for Beck, 2 ahead of Rob Nin with the Marlins. He has been awful tough. Talk about tough. Mark Gardner, he retired the last 9, the Giants starter tonight. He apparently gets better as the game goes on. In his last outing against Atlanta over the weekend, last Saturday, he retired the last 18 in a row, and tonight he retires the final 9 he faces. Marcus Jensen, who struck out a couple of times against Darren Oliver, as Oliver went 7 2/3 innings tonight, gave up the 4 runs on 8 hits. His only 2 strikeouts were of Jensen. And Hernandez falls behind 2-0. The other interleague play is now underway. Rangers get the early start on it with the early start time. But Seattle and Colorado are underway now. The other interleague games tonight have the Padres playing at Anaheim. That one's underway too. And the Dodgers playing at Oakland. Looks strange out there on that out-of-town scoreboard to see San Diego at Anaheim, Los Angeles at Oakland.
Sure does. It's a spring training scoreboard.
2-1. Hernandez to Jensen. 2-2. Pudge with the fake snap throw down to first base.
One thing you haven't seen tonight is any Giant players get too far off of first base. Rodriguez loves to throw and does so almost every game. But the Giant runners at first base have been so close to first base that he hasn't even tried it tonight. You have to think that was something they emphasized in their scouting reports. Don't get off too far at first base.
Ranger crowd gets into it with 2 strikes on the hitter and 2 outs here in the top of the ninth, as Xavier tries to give the Rangers a chance in the bottom half of the inning. Strike 3 called. Xavier Hernandez does the job again, and now it's time for the Rangers' turn in the bottom of the ninth inning. Down a run here at the ballpark in Arlington. Scheduled up Buford, Ripken, and Newson. We head to the bottom of the ninth inning. Rangers down a run against the San Francisco Giants, and the Giants closer is on, Mr. Rod Beck.
Well, Beck is one of the best in the business. Those are his numbers. As we said earlier, he leads the National League with 19 out of 21 saves. His big year was 1993 when he had 48 saves. He's worked 1 inning or less in every one of his 28 appearances. He's never pitched in the 8th inning. Has the Giants franchise record for saves, 181 in his career. So he's one of the premier save leaders. Ranger fans have had a chance to see Barry Bonds, and now one of the best relief pitchers in the National League.
And trying to do something against Rod Beck, Damon Buford was scheduled. Johnny Oates will pinch hit Domingo Cedeno here to lead things off in the bottom of the ninth inning. It's Cedeno scheduled, followed by Ripken and Newson here in the ninth. And Cedeno hits it up the middle. Darrell Hamilton, center fielder on first ball, hitting Cedeno is the first out of the ninth. Some guests on Ranger Baseball receive a portable Iowa music system featuring a dual CD changer, double cassette deck, digital tuner, remote control, and Q sound for 3D enhancement. Call 1-800-BUY-IOWA. 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Rangers down a run, and so Johnny Oates goes to a big bopper. Lee Stevens to pinch hit for Bill Ripken.
We started off with Cedeno to try to get a man on for Lee Stevens. Chances are, if Cedeno had gotten on, he might have stayed with Billy Ripken for the sacrifice bunt. But now down by a run, you've got to have someone with the home run capabilities.
None of these Ranger hitters have faced Rod Beck in their career. It's a tough guy to face for the first time in your career. Lee Stevens, a big swing and strike one. Stevens started out the year in a great home run groove with 5 home runs in the month of April, but it's been a while now since Stevens has hit one. And he bounces to second. Jeff Kent over, and there's 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. 2 away, and one more chance for the Rangers here. Back to the top of the order in Warren Newsom. Rod Beck had 11 straight saves to start the season this year. Dating back to last year, he had 23 of 25 saves. And Newsom, first ball hitting, hits it to Hamilton, and Darrell Hamilton has his 200th straight errorless game, and the Rangers fall in the first interleague game ever, 4-3 to the San Francisco Giants. The Giants are winners in game number 1 in interleague play. Rangers fall to 2 games over 500. The night that began with Willie Mays and Nolan Ryan throwing ceremonial first pitches ends with the Giants taking the Rangers by a run. We're back to wrap this up in just a moment. Now these messages from your local station.